So this is an instructional video on how to find good quality research articles. For this, our example clinical question will be, does mammography reduce breast cancer mortality in women 40 years and older? So the first thing we need to identify in this is a few key terms to use for searching later. So first of all, we have mammography, and we'll also be taking note of breast cancer mortality. And we may also try to narrow down our search to women 40 years and older. So just keep those in mind going forward. So we're going to move over to PubMed. You can also use other search databases such as Medline. We're going to use PubMed. So we're presented with two options on how to search. We can use key terms or mesh terms. Mesh terms can be helpful in narrowing down searches, but sometimes they can be kind of a little bit tricky to use and take more time than they might be worth. So we'll just use key terms to start, and if that gives us a result, we'll stick with that. So first of all, we'll just do mammography. And we're also looking for reducing breast cancer mortality. So we'll just get the and in there and breast cancer mortality. And we use and instead of or, so we articles that have both mammography and breast cancer mortality. So let's see what we get there. All right, so we get 3,000 results. That's quite a bit. Obviously too many to search through. So let's see if we can narrow down their search any further. We're looking for women aged 40 years and older. So let's see if we can do anything there. So we come down to our additional filters and we have ages. Let's see if we can narrow this down. So you have 19 plus years, 19 to 24, 19 to 44, and 45 plus. So nothing really matching up our age 40 to above. So we'll just leave that the way it is. And let's see if we can do anything else. So we're looking for the best data and the most recent data. So let's get, first of all, let's narrow down our publication dates the last 5 years. All right, so that gives us 700 search results. So that's really good. And then we don't want just a primary article. We're looking for either a review or a meta-analysis that looks at a large volume of randomized control trials, because we also know that mammography has been done for quite some time, and we want to see if it's effective in reducing breast cancer mortality. So we want to take into account a large volume of data. So let's add in review. So that gives us 105, and let's also put meta-analysis as well to see if that adds a few more. So right there we have 110 articles. So that's quite good. And if we're just looking at the titles of them, we have controversy in breast cancer screening for breast cancer with mammography, and a systematic assessment of benefits and risks to guide breast cancer screening decisions. So it looks like we're on the right track. One other thing we can do to make looking at these a little easier is just go up into display settings, and then we'll make it show our abstracts. So look at our first hit, and it's talking about women aged 40 to 49 years. So that's a little bit too narrow for our search, so we'll just keep moving on. And our second one here is screening for breast cancer with mammography. It's from 2013, and it's from the Cochrane database of systematic reviews, which we know is quite an excellent source for scientific data and systematic reviews. So we're just going to scroll down to main results here to see if it has what we're looking for. And we see they've looked at 8 trials, 600,000 women in total. The age range is 39 to 74 years. So that looks like it's right where we need it to be. And the results show that 3 trials with adequate randomization did not show a statistically significant reduction in breast cancer mortality. 4 trials with suboptimal randomization showed a significant reduction in breast cancer mortality. And if we combine all of them, we get a relative risk of 0.81, and therefore a reduction in breast cancer mortality. So depending on the criteria we use for randomization, mammography may or may not reduce breast cancer mortality. And that's just really subject to bias and how strict you want your scientific criteria to be. And keep in mind that this does not recommend whether you should or should not do mammography. There are other risks, but just mentions that there could be breast cancer with reduction in mortality. And but the evidence is kind of still varied. If we look at our next research article here, see if it kind of coincides, correlates with the previous one, we see in the results, so this is from 2014, a systematic assessment. So once again, another meta-analysis and results. You see that there's a 19% overall reduction of breast cancer mortality, 15% for women in their 40s, 32% for women in their 60s. And so yeah, that seems to match up with our previous articles. So it looks like we've got the right data we need. And that concludes our demonstration of using PubMed. And in our next presentation, we'll use Dynamed to show how to get an evidence synthesis.